Hello and welcome everybody, it's Rose Smith here from AbsoluteSoulSecrets.com. Thanks so much for joining me for the April 2023 horoscopes. There's a lot happening this month as well, maybe not quite as much as last month in March when we had Saturn going into Pisces and Pluto going into Aquarius, and what a big amount of transformation we have to deal with, and it's like things are just going faster and faster, you know. The good thing is we only have one planet retrograde this month, which is Mercury. I'll talk about that in a moment, but all of the other planets are direct, so we don't have to, you know, be internalizing everything so much so that we're not getting things done in the outside world that we would like to. One of the other points is that a lot of the signs, with the exception of Taurus, Gemini and Pisces, the other signs are experiencing at the start of the month an opposition to their MC. This is pretty important because the MC is all about your status, your direction in life, what you want to do with your life, what's your life's purpose, your life's mission, all those sorts of big questions. And then we have an opposition to deal with, which is sort of forcing us to get on the right track. If we're not on the right path in life, Spirit is going to direct us there one way or the other. If we are on the right track, maybe we need some tweaking, just a little bit of spiritual GPS help to, you know, keep us on the straight and narrow of what we're supposed to be doing rather than what everybody else is doing, okay? Because we're all unique. Okay, I'll just put on a video so you don't have to watch me all of the time, and it gets a bit boring just looking at a person. Okay, so the first thing to note for April is that Mercury is entering Taurus on the 3rd of the month, and it will be conjunct your North Node. So this is fairly significant. The North Node is associated with your destiny, your future, which combined with this opposition going on with your MC, apart from Taurus, Gemini and Pisces, which are going to experience that opposition later in the month, probably between the 7th and the 12th, depending on the sign. Everybody else experiences it at the beginning of the month. But when you combine those two things happening, it's like Spirit is saying, get real about what your life is, what you're meant to be doing, okay? And you might have to do some soul searching to find out exactly what you're doing. And you can expect to see a lot of changes. And if you are following influencers or you're following people here on YouTube, I wouldn't call myself an influencer by any description, but it's like we're going to find people will come and people will go at really increased, accelerated rates. So like I've cut back because I've just got so much work. So I'm sorry, but I just have to do the work I have to do. And so you'll find changes in people's schedules and all sorts of things happening, especially to do with Pluto and Saturn. On the 6th, the full moon is in cardinal air sign Libra. So Libra doesn't like confrontation. Libra wants peace and harmony. So even though there could be some rumblings from deep within, it's likely if you have to deal with it and actually take action, Libra will try to find a way so that you're polite and patient with the other person if there's another person involved. Hopefully, one hopes. As a cardinal air sign, Libra also wants to start new things, new projects and stuff like that. And any projects that she is encouraging you to do may experience some turbulence from the full moon, especially in starting them. Libra and all the cardinal signs are instigators, so they want to get new stuff done. And that's particularly relevant on the 20th when we have the new moon solar eclipse in Aries, which is also a cardinal air sign. Aries is the beginning of the zodiac, so this is also pushing you towards starting new things. So a new moon is, especially a solar eclipse, it's a new moon on steroids to get stuff started, and they probably start with a lot of energy, spontaneity and activity, and sometimes you haven't planned this out, it just sort of happens, you know. So yeah, maybe allow plenty of space around the 20th, because we also have the sun entering Taurus on the same day, and this brings some sort of reliability, stability, some sort of structure. And Taurus is ruled by Venus, the same as Libra. You see how they're all working together. Venus wants beauty. Venus sometimes looks after your money, particularly spending your money on beautiful things, so do watch for that. But the Sun brings insight and awareness and comfort, and so it's a beautiful energy to start new things. And there'll be some structure and stability around it, so good foundations, which is a good thing. On the 21st, Mercury is retrograde also in Taurus until the 14th of May. Now, there's a little bit of time before the 21st, probably around 7 to 10 days, and then after the 14th of May, again around 7 to 10 days, where it's called the shadow period. It's like you don't get the full-on energy of Mercury retrograde, but the energy is either coming on or going off. It's not a great time to sign contracts, but if you do have to sign a contract, you may find that you have to go back and revisit that contract because something changes. And so when a planet turns direct, it's not what it was, and any sort of internalized energy then becomes more physical, you see. So with Mercury in Taurus, it's likely to be around reliability and stability, and it could affect your communications. There could be misunderstandings. It's not a great time for travel, although sometimes we must travel for work or for some particular reason. So make sure that you allow plenty of time, especially if you've got multiple legs to your travel, because a delay at the start of your travel can influence the whole trip. So allow extra time for that. Mercury retrograde can affect your devices, sometimes your electrical things. Not technically, but that's what I've noticed myself. It's also a time where we might see scammers increase because Mercury is known as a trickster. So do be aware with your devices that there could be extra scam activity going on. Okay. So that's it in a nutshell. Don't forget to click your timestamp below for your sun sign, your moon sign, and also your rising or ascendant sign. Leave a comment or a like, that would be fabulous. If you're new, subscribe and be alive and hit that notification bell. Thank you so much for watching, and I just want to wish you all the very best for the month of April. And have a wondrous time, because there are lots of opportunities and lots of new beginnings could start. Okay, thanks again, and I'll see you soon. Bye for now. Hello and welcome, dear Aries. Okay, so we got a few things happening this month for you. So let's go to the board now. I'll draw 2 cards and we'll see what's happening. Okay, so here's your horoscope, which we'll come to in a moment. But let's draw these cards first for the first half of the month and the second half of the month. What do I see for awesome Aries in April 2023? Now, I nearly said April 2025, so maybe just make a note of that, because that must be significant to be coming out of my mouth at the moment. There might be significant transformation around you then. I see a door opening up. This indicates some sort of opportunity. It's almost like a hesitancy around it, and it's like you're not sure perhaps to take this opportunity or not at this time. And I think it's because you know at some level there's another opportunity coming as well. So you may have to make a decision about which way you're going to go. Let's get some more clarity on that with the cards. Here we go. 2 swords, a decision to be made. Okay, just bear in mind that everybody makes decisions given their history and the baggage that we all carry. So there's some sort of history in the background that's influencing you on an emotional level. 2 swords definitely indicates a decision to be made, but it's probably not a major decision. So regardless of what conclusion you come up with, it's probably going to be right. Okay, that's the first half of the month, and let's have a look the second half of the month. What do I see Another door here that's closed. Yes, so that says to me that you've probably made the decision in the first half, and you're going down that path in the second half. Let's see what we get. The card that comes up, the Tower card. Okay, it's funny because when I picked up the deck, this was the first card I saw, and I was like, oh, I wonder what that's all about, you know, and it sort of impacted upon me. It's like there's something around endings, so your decision is about ending something. Now, this is a major arcana. Maybe in the beginning of the month you're aware of it, but you're not sure which way to go as the month proceeds. You see this eye up here. This is the eye of wisdom, your intuition telling you which way. And if you're honest with yourself, or you know you're sensitive in any way, you may well be aware that something in your mind that you've constructed, it isn't as you thought it was. It's going to come crashing down. Although people associate sort of negative connotations with this card, I believe it's ultimately positive, that some things are not meant to last, you know, that it's time to, you know, ditch the relationship or ditch the job so that you can find something better. It's associated with Uranus, so it's that kind of unpredictable, rebellious kind of energy that's looking for freedom. Sometimes see all this electrical lightning going on. It's like you might have some issues with electrical appliances as well. Not saying you're going to get shocked or anything like that, but you might just find electrical appliances aren't working as well as they normally would. But something's coming to an end, and so you could find that somebody that you thought that you knew by their behaviour or something that happens, you find out they're not who you thought they were, okay? The crown comes toppling off their head, and they go down, in your opinion, your estimation. All right, so that's the cards. Let's make this a little bit bigger so you can see what's going on. Okay, and I'm going to put these cards here so you can bear these in mind as we discuss your horoscope for April. Okay, all right, so the first thing I want to mention is that you've got Mars in opposition to your MC here in Sagittarius in your 10th house. This suggests there could be some sort of arguments or maybe a challenge. It's a bit more than a struggle, like it's an opposition, so this is fairly strong. And this is in your house of career. And if you're working at the moment doing something that you're not really happy with, it's not really fulfilling your heart, you're going to be challenged this month. That could be this Tower card. It's like something happens perhaps at work and you just decide enough is enough. You know, that's got to go. And so there's this back and forth between the forceful energy of Mars, and because it's here in Cancer in your 4th house, it could be something to do with your family, quite possibly. Maybe you decide that, you know, spending too much time at work is interfering with your family life or something like that. And it's also about your life mission, your vocation, what you're supposed to be doing with your life. So if you're not in a career that is really personally fulfilling to you, there could, you know, the crunch could come this month. If you're not working, like as in doing paid work, you may decide that, you know, perhaps you need to go and get some paid work regardless of, you know, your circumstances. It might not be a lot, it might not be a full-time job, but it's important that you do what your heart dictates here. It's not all about logic. So that's the first thing. It is a big month with a solar eclipse and also Mercury retrograde, which I'll talk about that in a minute. But on the 3rd of the month, Mercury moves into your 2nd house here, into Taurus. So there's bound to be a lot of communications about finances, a lot of fresh ideas about finances as well. And it will be conjunct your North Node in a day or two. So it moves here, the North Node's at 5 degrees. So it's not going to take Mercury very long it actually, as soon as it moves in, really technically it is conjunct, but it's going to get closer and closer in a day or two. And this could bring conversations or messages about your destiny, what you're supposed to do about particularly your finances, your possessions, and your values in life. You might have changing core beliefs going on about the things that you value, the things that you think are important, okay? And money could be tied up with that as well. The 6th sees a full moon in our cardinal Libra air sign here in your 7th house, so perhaps a little bit of turbulence regarding relationships, especially those relationships with women. Maybe you need some privacy or security time around, the home at the moment, especially with Mars. Mars might be telling you to reorganize your home and get things working. There could be a lot of energetic activity around your home, and somehow this is affecting a partner perhaps, or a relationship, as well as your life mission or your work if you're working. Then we have on the 11th, Venus goes into Gemini, and that's here. So beautiful, peaceful discussions about, domestic type things, your local area, with your neighbours, or perhaps with siblings. Maybe you've lost contact with a sibling or a cousin or somebody like that. It's also a good time for, if you're in small business, say, it's a great time for promotions and marketing. It's a great time for study as well. On the 20th, there's a new moon solar eclipse in Aries here, and it's in your sign. So this suggests that there's a new beginning in your identity, or perhaps in your appearance, or the way that you approach the world. Could also be about your physical body as well. And the moon travels very fast, and it will be conjunct the sun and Chiron fairly soon in the beginning of the month. So there could be some healing of old wounds, or perhaps if you had a lack of confidence, you might find that you feel more confident than usual. Your self-esteem is improved, for example, when it becomes conjunct, the moon becomes conjunct with Chiron, and there's a lot of insight and awareness around this. So this is a really good thing. So that period of time, for a few days coming up to the solar eclipse and a few days after, you might have some fabulous realizations. Then on the 20th, we also have the sun moving into Taurus here, and this is going to bring insight and realizations about your money, and ways to save money and ways to make money as well. And the sun will catch up here to your north node, and this is fairly important time for you, because it's really setting the template for your destiny. So well done you. We have on the 21st, Mercury going retrograde here in Taurus, and it's the only retrograding planet this month. This is likely to affect your communications or your ideas around reliability, stability, finances, again, your possessions and your core values. It's not a great time for signing contracts, and it's not a great time for travel either. You might, it's an important time though. It is retrograde until the 14th of May, and then for a few days, maybe a week or 10 days after that, it is coming off the energy. It's decreasing, and leading up to the 21st, when it's coming on, you'll also feel some effects of Mercury retrograde if you're particularly sensitive. So because there's a thing called a shadow period, which operates when the energy is coming on or going off, if that makes sense to you. But it is a great time too with Mercury retrograde to finish things that you may have started in the past. So you might be finishing something that involves your finances, and maybe around your home as well with this Mars here. trying to get things in order, perhaps. So that's it, Aries. Thanks so much for listening, and don't forget to leave a like, and also check your ascendant or rising sign and your moon. Okay, thanks. Bye for now. Hello, terrific Taurus. Okay, we're going to have a look at your April horoscope, and there's a lot happening this month. I'll draw 2 tarot cards first, though, so we can get the vibe for the month. Let's go to the board now. Okay, there we go. There's your horoscope. Alrighty, so the first half of the month, I'm closing my eyes now. There's a river here, a lot of blues, the colour blue around you. And this river flowing very quickly. You may feel a little bit more energetic than usual, a little bit more vital. If you've had health issues, there could be some changes there. I just see the river just sort of bubbling along very quickly. So this is your energy levels. Probably you have to be cautious that you don't overdo things. Okay, the card that comes up is the 5 of Wands. Okay, sometimes this is about competition with other people, and particularly if you're in business and you do have Mars here also in your 3rd house in Cancer, so it could be running around a lot in your local area. But be cautious of any situation where, like for example in traffic, that there's sort of competition or a competitive type feeling. You may be called to stand and assert your rights in some way, but it doesn't feel like it's major. It's just, you know, the normal everyday sorts of things that we have to deal with. There is a lot of passion around what you're feeling. See, there's flames coming out of your fingertips. The 5 of Wands this card is, and so you have very definite ideas about what you think, so don't let people pull the wool over your eyes in any way. Okay, the second card that comes up in the second half of the month for you, Taurus, what's that? There's a door opening here in front of me. Then I'm out in space. That suggests to me it is some sort of spiritually related type of energy. And there seems to be a lot of activity there as well. When I look here in your 12th house, there is a lot happening. You can see Chiron, Jupiter conjunct here, and also Mercury. There could be some sort of spiritual expansion around you that is very healing, or perhaps there's some sort of issue around old wounds coming up, but they're coming up for healing, so it's ultimately a good thing. Let's have a look and see what we see. Let's go with that one. Okay, very interesting, the 10 of Cups. This is all about nurturing, family, home and hearth. If you're having difficulties with a family member or perhaps your mother, there could be some sort of change around that for the better. So there's an olive branch offered, or some sort of forgiveness, or, you know, you reach an agreement to just disagree basically and bury the hatchet, so to speak. But this is also associated, this is a very positive card, and so if you do have a difficult situation, it could improve. If you don't have a difficult situation, then it's going to be wonderful, because this is about kindness, generosity and nurturing. You may find yourself nurturing other people, or they may be nurturing you this month. Okay, so that's great. Let's put these cards to the side here, because we're going to make this a bit bigger. But oh, actually it should be around the other way. That one's first, then the second half of the month. Wands and Cups, so a lot of creative sort of energy and feelings are going on. Now I'm just going to make it a little bit bigger so you can see better. Okay, all right, so as far as your horoscope goes, we have on the 3rd, Mercury is entering Taurus here. So this is your sign. And basically with Mercury going in there, there's likely to be a lot of fresh ideas and conversations about your appearance, your identity, maybe your body. It could be because we've got a full moon over here in the 6th house of health and well-being. So there might be something comes up about your physical body. It's also about how you approach the world, how you go out there into the world to get things done. So a lot of conversations and new ideas. And in a day or two, well, straight away really, it's conjunct. And for the next couple of days, it's going to be conjunct your North Node. So there's probably some sort of communications about your destiny, what you're supposed to be doing for a fair while. And so do take note, write them down, because it's probably quite important. On the 6th, the full moon is over here in cardinal air sign Libra, as I just mentioned. Possibly shaking things up, bringing some turbulence to your everyday routine, your habits, what you eat on a regular basis, and your health, vitality, and perhaps even your work. So in Libra, you may desire to have things more peaceful. You may want beauty, especially, where you're working. You might want to beautify your office or wherever you're working. And if you're not working for money, you still do something every day. And so whatever it is you do on a regular basis, that Libran aesthetic for beauty and elegance comes in, along with peace, warmth and love and affection. Libra loves that. On the 11th, Venus enters Gemini here, bringing an energy perhaps to get you to spend money, because Venus does like the expensive, beautiful things, and so just watch out there. This is about your finances, your possessions and your core values. Venus could influence you to buy beautiful things, so yeah, it's better to buy, if you are buying things, it's better to buy things like artwork or jewellery or things that appreciate in value, such as collectibles, rather than just buying sort of bric-a-brac or, cheap things around your house. So just watch you don't overspend with that. On the 20th, there's a new moon solar eclipse also in Aries here. There's a fair bit happening there in your 12th house, the house of the divine, the house of the unconscious. With a new moon there, you might be getting some new messages as new starts around your dreams, or perhaps if you're meditating, you might start to pick up information, getting information from upstairs, and in Aries, it could be quite energetic, quite bold, quite spontaneous. It happens out of the blue, so that's write it all down. That's a good thing. Also on the 20th, the sun enters your sign here, bringing insight and awareness to your view about the world, how you present yourself to the world, your appearance. Maybe you decide to clean out your wardrobe. You have this sort of brilliant idea that you can get more organised in the wardrobe department. And there's a general party sort of going on in your sign this month, so a lot of activity. Then we have on the 21st, Mercury is going retrograde in your sign from the 21st until the 14th of May. Now, there's a few days before and after these dates where Mercury is in what's called shadow period, so the energy's coming on or going off, okay? And it's the only planet that's going retrograde this month. So, there's last month, March, oh my gosh, there was so many planets that were retrograde. Now, and you've got to find new ways to deal with things when a planet is retrograde. And also the energy can become more internal. So you've got to sort of, take a bit of a break, I think. But luckily in April, there's only Mercury to deal with. This will affect your communications, particularly around, again, to do with your appearance, your identity, and how you present yourself to the world. So as you can see, a fair bit happening, but things are likely to go quite swimmingly for you. and especially with the North Node here, this is going to be a bit of a feature for you, because you'll be thinking what you're going to do for, a fair while, how you're going to revamp your destiny. So it's all about taking control. With Uranus there too, it's at 16 degrees. That could maybe around the 10th or sometime like that, you might find it's something surprising that happens that you didn't expect, that your destiny is going down a certain track that you had no idea of. It could be quite positive, actually. All right, and don't forget your tarot cards here. Stand up for yourself, be assertive, but it's likely that there's going to be some peace and harmony, or some improvement in your family relationships or with the people that you care about. Okay, thank you so much for listening. Have a wonderful month, and don't forget to check out your rising sign and your moon sign on this video as well. I'll see you soon. Bye for now. Hello, gorgeous Gemini. Well, what a month we've all got coming up. There's a fair bit happening. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is draw 2 tarot cards as theme cards for the month for you. Then we'll have a look at your horoscope in depth. Let's go to the board now. Okay, there's your horoscope. So, first half of the month, if you like. I'll close my eyes now. A spoonful of sugar helps the medicine go down. So that suggests to me that something not very nice that you have to deal with right at the beginning of the month. But the other thing I see around it is there is a silver lining, because there's a silver spoon. So it's almost like, in order to get something good, there's a bit of a sort of, an issue that has to be dealt with first to get a better outcome. Also, I am wearing light pearls today, but I'm seeing pearls around you. They're just the plain white natural pearls. So there could be words of wisdom spoken by you, or somebody speaks them to you. Let's have a look and see what card we get around all of this. The Justice card. Okay, so this is about karmic justice, natural law, L-O-R-E. Although if you do have human law, L-A-W, to contend with, you'll find that this is a help. It's important to listen to your intuition. You see the owl there on her shoulder. Okay, so meditate and listen to what's coming up for you. Weigh up the evidence and then make a decision. It's important to be practical and keep your feet on the ground, and it's important to take action. Even if you don't have all of the information, see how she's wearing black here and she's blindfolded. She doesn't have all of the logical evidence, but she's got intuition, which makes up for it. Normally, people who've done the right thing, this card can be very beneficial, okay? But justice is coming, and I think it's a good thing. All right, that's the first card, first half of the month. Will also help you with any legalities. Now, the second half of the month for you, gorgeous Geminis, what do I see? Sort of in a bathroom, something about brushing your teeth. Teeth are about the normal sort of childhood development cycles and hurdles that we must all go through. And sometimes, there's things left over from our childhood that haven't been dealt with. But this is about cleaning up your act, dealing with any sort of tendrils that may be left over from your childhood, energetic tendrils most probably, but you still could have some physical things as well that you need to deal with. But because I'm in a bathroom situation here, there's just a sort of general vibe of cleanliness, sort of quite Virgoan actually, and cleaning up anything that needs to, get down to business and clean things up. The card that comes out is the 7 of Cups, reaching out for spiritual attainment. This card can also refer to, putting your hand up and saying no, and also, like being more assertive. It's in a number of different areas of your life that you're trying to strive towards something. Even though it's a 7, there could be some sacrifice involved. It's likely that eventually you'll get at least partial success. You may get more than partial success, but keep going, keep doing what you're doing, because you're on the right track. Okay, so 7 of Cups. Let's make this a bit bigger for you, and then you'll see the board more easily, and bear these 2 cards in mind. Okay, so first thing to note is this big red line here. The moon is in opposition to your MC in Aquarius in the 9th house. This is about your general life direction. Maybe, you know, career can be tied up with it sometimes, but it's about talking about the path, the road that you're on in life. And in Aquarius, there's some sort of detachment that may be involved, you know, not to, you know, sweat the small stuff. Don't be too overly concerned with details. With an opposition to the moon, there could be some sort of turbulence around it at the beginning of the month. And, you know, it could bring up things from your subconscious as well. Maybe there is a legal matter or some sort of justice that needs to be applied or sought. You know, you could be thinking a lot about that. Okay, so it won't last very long because the moon is very fast travelling and only spends a few days in each house. So it's something that's going to come to a head and then sort of tail off very quickly. On the 3rd, Mercury enters Taurus, and that's here in your subconscious, the house of your subconscious, and also the house of the divine. It's a great time for picking up spiritual messages, for meditating, for journaling, for spending time out in nature, and for self-reflection. It's going to be conjunct the North Node. North Node's at 5 degrees, so very quickly it will be conjunct at the beginning of the month, and for, you know, maybe a day or two after that. Mercury also moves fairly quickly as well, but that's about also about your destiny or where you're going. And so you might really find some very insightful and very interesting things coming up from your subconscious on your spiritual journey. And so you might also have some sort of realization that spirituality is part of your future, and the North Node will be traveling towards Uranus. So something surprising might come up this month that you didn't anticipate. Could be quite innovative or quite creative as well. Then we have on the 6th, the full moon. It's in cardinal air Libra, here in your 5th house here. And this is all about your creativity and the world of the child. You could have more to do with children because it's a full moon, probably their mothers as well, because the moon is associated with women. And it's also romance. It's fun. It's leisure and pleasure. It's the things that you want to go out and do. So do bear in mind that, yeah, it's things coming out of the subconscious, so we don't always know what that will be, but do pay attention and write everything down. It could be some sort of shake-up. In Libra, Libra wouldn't like if it was confrontational or difficult. Libra loves peace, and you might come to realise exactly how much you love peace as well. It could also be something to do with beauty, elegance, and affection and love, because nobody loves like Libra loves. Libra loves the idea of love. Libra loves to talk about love and have sort of lots of different fantasies, you know, and general conversation about love. So it will be an interesting time. A plane's just flying over if you hear that noise. Of course, it's always convenient when I'm live streaming or doing videos. Then on the 11th, we have Venus entering Gemini here. Venus is the ruler of Libra, actually, over here. So this is about your identity, your appearance. Maybe you're interested in buying new clothes, new makeup, getting your hair done. Venus loves that. So this is to do with your identity and how you put yourself out there into the world and the messages that you give. And in Venus, with Venus, it's likely that those messages are going to be beautiful, elegant, polite, courteous, because she loves that. Then we have on the 20th the new moon solar eclipse in Aries here, which, you know, there's a fair bit happening there. So there could be a great time of socializing. It could be a time of meeting new people, new beginnings around friendships, for example. Perhaps you'll want to join a group and, you know, meet like-minded people, become part of a social club or something like that. With the full moon over here, it might be women that you're meeting. There might be a sort of a tendency to meet new women, but there could be some sort of turbulence with it. If, and especially when Mercury goes retrograde, Mercury will be in your 12th house, but yeah, just watch if you're meeting people that you get the scheduling right and the place right, the time and the date and all of that. Sometimes there's misscheduling issues, or if you go to a restaurant, you make a booking and you get there and they say, oh no, so just make sure you've got a receipt of that booking or some sort of written evidence. Then we have the Sun entering Taurus on the 20th. The Sun here bringing insight and awareness around your dreams and your spirituality, really, you know. So it also brings warmth, a sense of comfort and stability and that sort of thing. And I don't know if I said, with this new moon, it's a solar eclipse, so it's going to be more strong as well. It's like it's on steroids, these new beginnings. I don't know if I mentioned that. On the 21st, Mercury is going retrograde also in Taurus until the 14th of May. Do watch your communications, your emails. Sometimes they go missing. Back up your devices beforehand. It's not a great time for travel, but it is a great time to finish things that you started. And with Mercury here in your house of dreams, you might find it hard to interpret your dreams, or you misinterpret something that Spirit's trying to tell you, so just watch that. There is a shadow period of a week or so either side of those dates when the energy of Mercury is coming on or going off. Alrighty, so that's your horoscope, gorgeous Geminis. I hope it's useful. Don't forget to check out your rising sign or your ascendant. Some people call it the ascendant. And also your moon sign on this video. Have a wonderful month, and I'll see you all soon. Bye for now. Hello, caring Cancerians. Thanks for joining me for your April 23 horoscope. It's another big month this month, and I'm recording this on the 24th of March, so if you're sensitive, you would have felt the effects of Pluto, particularly over the last few weeks. So it's all happening. But let's get on. I'm going to draw 2 tarot cards as theme cards for the month for you, and then we'll have a look at your horoscope in depth. Okay, so here it is. But drawing these 2 cards first. There's a card that's just up the wrong way. Okay, so for caring Cancerians, April 2023, I see, this is interesting, the Egyptian Ankh in a cave. Okay, so the Ankh is the symbol of life, and it's in a cave, and so this says to me it's something to do with your physical body. It's been kept down. There's sort of like a life within that you're not, maybe you're not aware of it, perhaps. So some vitality. You might be on a bit of a quest, seeking and searching for, you know, the meaning of life. What's it all about, Alfie? And you could come across this Ankh. I feel like you will. Let's have a look and get more clarity on that. The card that comes up is the King of Wands. This is a beautiful energy, actually. Somebody who's mature, who's been around the traps and understands life. There's a lot of experience here, but it's the kind of experience that is balanced with realism, because we have the wooden throne here and his feet on the ground, and this looks like an eastern water dragon down the bottom here at his feet, which is about being in touch with the earth, being instinctual, but not allowing those instincts to run their programs, but paying attention to them, you know, listening to them. There's also a lot of action, and the sunflowers here reminiscent of the sun, insight, comfort, stability. awareness. This is a highly evolved person with this gold around the waist, also indicates some sort of success, but it's all driven by the King of Wands energy, the inspiration, the motivation. There's some degree of honesty here as well, and a lot of action. So you could meet somebody like this, or alternatively you could find this energy in yourself. It's a fabulous energy for getting stuff done in a very creative way. It's a creative force. All right, so let's have a look at the second half of the month for you, caring Cancerians. Something else about new projects that you'll be taking on board as well. This energy is going to give you more life and vitality. Yeah, so it's about life. Okay, hence the Ankh in the cave. Now, okay, the second card that comes out is the Two of Wands. Again, the motivation, the creativity, the desire for achievements. But you might have felt hemmed in lately. Now there's a bit of a break in the weather, so to speak. The forces that were limiting you are now at a minimal. They're minimizing. They're becoming less. So you've got less resistance to what you creatively want to accomplish in your life, which is good news. She's burning sage here. That's not a cigarette, by the way. Maybe sage your house and have a bit of a clean out as well, and also your physical body. A lot of action to be taken here, hence the red cape. It's about self-expression too, and you might be able to find that your spiritual message goes out into the world as never before. Okay, here's the world up here. The world on a string, but action has to be taken. There's no point just thinking about it. All right, so I'm going to put those two there, and we're going to come to your horoscope now. I'll just make this a bit bigger and will tell us what's going on. Alrighty, so here's your horoscope. And the first thing to note, there is a fair bit happening, but on the 3rd, Mercury is going to enter Taurus up here. And you'll see your North Node already there. This is in your house of hopes and dreams, but also friends, groups and connections. So there's likely to be a lot of conversations, a lot of new ideas, and there's a bit of a party going on here this month in this house. You're likely to meet new people, okay? Some of whom are destined. You're destined to meet them. It's almost like it's fated in some way with the North Node, okay? And it's conjunct, it's there at 5 degrees, 24 minutes. So as soon as, well, 26, not quite conjunct, but soon it will be, okay? So around the 3rd, when it enters, it will be. Then we have on the 6th a full moon in cardinal air sign Libra, which is down here. And this brings probably the sense of the need for privacy, or perhaps interactions with women to do with your family or to do with your home, in your home. Perhaps it could be some sort of turbulence. Perhaps sometimes the full moon shakes things up a bit. Now it's probably a family member or somebody like a family member, and it's probably a woman, so just be be aware of that. But as Libra is an air sign, there's bound to be a lot of discussions and a lot of toing and froing with ideas. Libra likes to have conversations. So the 11th sees Venus entering Gemini, and we have that here. Venus in the 12th house is a sort of not really at home there, because the 12th house is about things that are hidden away, and sometimes it can indicate like a desire for somebody that you can't have. They're not available to you in some way, or you might find you're having those sorts of dreams or those sort of tempting type feelings. It's hard to get it to come into physical reality until Venus moves on into the 1st house, which isn't terribly far away, because Venus only spends 3 or 4 weeks in around 3 weeks in each house on average. Okay, so Venus will soon go into your 1st house, and that's about the way that you make yourself known to the world, your approach to the world, and that sort of thing. And then we have on the 20th the new moon solar eclipse in Aries here, and this is likely to bring some sort of new beginning to you. It could be concerning a career move, and especially with Chiron here at 15 degrees 37 minutes Aries, it could be the healing of a old spiritual wound that you've been carrying in relationship to, you know, doing your natural vocation, the thing that your heart desires. Sometimes this house does indicate a parent as well. Traditionally it was thought to be the mother, but these days, you know, roles are more fluid today. The roles of people, it might be that your mother works and your father stays at home or something like that, or maybe they're both staying at home and they work from home, or, you know, so it's the public parent, traditionally the mother. And there could be some sort of new start or rejuvenation of this relationship, or if it's not a parent, even an authority figure. And in some way this could help you with any sort of vocational type issues that you may have. It's a new beginning in Aries. It's bound to be spontaneous and energetic. Also on the 20th, the Sun enters Taurus here, joining the party in your 11th house, bringing insight, awareness and comfort. You could be socialising a fair bit. You could be joining groups this month, or getting together with groups, and whether that be online or face-to-face, either is quite possible. But it is a nice, comfortable influence, and there's bound to be warmth and affection and insight there. And you'll see, so we'll have Mercury, Sun, North Node, Uranus as well, and Venus is already moved on the 11th into the 12th. But it's quite a party here, and with Uranus there, that could mean that it's something unexpected happens, so that you meet somebody out of the blue. There's some unpredictable element that, you know, strikes like a bolt out of the blue, and it could be positive or it could be negative. There's no sort of, you know, consensus as to which it is. It could be something really positive, and you could meet someone amazing. So lucky you. The only thing is that Mercury is going retrograde there on the 21st, and that will be until the 14th of May. Now, leading up to the 21st and after the 14th of May, there's a little thing called a shadow period. That's when the energy is coming on or going off. The other thing to note is that it's the only planet that is retrograde this month. It's likely to affect your communications, around reliability and stability, to do with friends. So if you are going to meet up with somebody or going to a group, do double check the address and the time, the scheduling and all of that, because there can be, you know, a change, a last minute change that you might not hear about, or something goes, you know, south or pear-shaped. And with Mercury retrograde, there is a positive side, and that is it's a great time to complete anything that you started before the shadow period. So it technically goes retrograde on the 21st. So say, just to be careful, anything that you started before the 11th of April, you know, you might find your thoughts coming back to that, and then you'll be able to finish it. So, you know, with Taurus, there could be some real physical effects as well. So you might have a creative project on hold that you haven't been able to manage, but when Mercury goes retrograde, then something changes and you can finish it. Some decisions to be made, but whatever the thing is that's been hindering you, you're likely to be able to manage it this month. Alrighty, so that's it. Don't forget to check your ascendant or your rising sign and also your moon sign on this video. Have a wonderful month, everyone. Bye for now. Hello and welcome, lovely Leos, and I'm here with your April horoscope. Well, there's a remarkable thing coming up for you this month involving your identity. You're going to go through a radical transformation. Okay, let's go to the board now and have a look at what these two cards have to say. These are the theme cards for the month for you. We'll see what comes up. Oop. I'll put that one back in. I didn't see it, and just give it another light shuffle. Okay, so there's 2 cards, a theme card for the beginning. Oh, this one's coming out. It's all about the money, honey, in the first half of the month. There's money things that you need to consider, issues to sort out, and that sort of thing. So that'll be a focus on your mind, first half of the month. And then we will have the second half of the month. Let's see what comes up. Closing my eyes now. A toothbrush. This is like cleaning up your act in some way. Toothbrush is about your teeth. These are the childhood developmental hurdles that we all have, some at least, that we haven't accomplished. And so it's like maybe independence or freedom, breaking away from parents and things like that. This could be part of the issue, breaking away from authority figures. And of course, if your parents, one of your parents abandoned you or left you, you didn't get to break away because you were abandoned. They actually left you before you were ready. So that suggests that developmentally there's things that still need to be accomplished. Okay, the card that comes up is the Magician. Okay, the Magician is a fabulous major arcana card that will help you regenerate yourself, and I'm going to talk more about that in a moment, because as most of us know, you may know that Pluto is just changed signs yesterday and has moved into Aquarius. This is very, very significant for you. Okay, the Magician, how to make your life the way that you want it to be. Okay, so there's a lot of red there, so there's a lot of action to be taken. There's also this blue energy, which is the sky of mind, and it's also the throat chakra. So these new ideas coming through that you're going to speak out and have your say. But a lot of red there, a lot of action to be taken, and you can physically manifest this month. Okay, let's make this bigger so that you can see what I'm talking about. The first thing I want to point out is that we have Pluto opposing your ascendant. This is very, very significant because Pluto just changing signs into your 7th house of committed relationships, the important relationships in your life. Pluto brings endings. It's the end of a cycle, and then it brings new beginnings and regeneration. And you might find that the nature of your relationships changes as you regenerate yourself and transform yourself. And your ascendant here is how you're going to present yourself to the world. So this involves your identity and your appearance, which you may wish to change if you don't feel that your current appearance is reflecting the real you. You will want to align yourself into the behaviours that will better reflect who you really are. But it's a highly transformative time. Pay attention in the next 3 months, because you're going to get a sample of what's going to happen from January 2024 until 2044. So the next 2 decades, you're going to see in the next 3 months what are the likely energies that are likely to happen for you. So it's very, very important. On the 3rd, Mercury enters Taurus, and it will be conjunct your North Node here. The North Node is about meeting other people, but also destiny, and some meetings are likely to be fated or destined. And with Mercury going in there, there's likely to be a lot of communications and new ideas. And we also have Uranus there at 16 degrees 50 minutes. So Mercury is quickly going to catch up to that. North Node not as quick, but it still will catch up. But these 3 will be in a nice little group together. And so something very unpredictable and fated could happen regarding meeting someone special. This could be a special friend. It could be romantic involvement. It could mean any number of things. It could be a group that you join that could change your life, basically. But yeah, it's going to be full on time for you. On the 6th, the full moon moves into Libra, shaking things up with your communications, possibly involving a woman and possibly involving a Libran woman, because here in the 3rd house, it's all about new ideas, communications, promotions, marketing, that sort of thing. And if you're in business, you might find that that becomes more important to you this month. Study is also a thing that can be affected. You may, if you are studying, you may find it a bit hard going at the moment or a bit turbulent. Or sometimes it's to do with relationships with siblings or maybe distant relatives, cousins, or relatives that are not nearby. They're distant in some way, maybe geographically, okay, not just emotionally but geographically as well. We have on the 11th Venus entering Gemini here, going into your 11th house. So there's a big focus here on your career in your 10th house with all of these planets, something unusual, something fated, something to do with communications and new ideas. And then here in your 11th house, Venus brings a beautiful energy around your friendships and the people that you normally associate with, and also the groups. And so it could be very peaceful and loving and kind. And you might find people, you just say, oh, that's such a nice person, such a good person. And then on the 20th, we have a new moon up here in your 9th house, bringing a new start around anything to do with foreign countries, anything exotic. Maybe it is study. It's more likely to be formal study, like at a university or at some sort of institution. And a new start involving spirituality. The 9th house is called the house of the higher mind. You might find you're reading more, for example. And there's some sort of healing going on here. An old wound might be disturbed, and then you know, it's disturbed for the reason to get you to look, and then you see that there's a healing happening. So it's also possible that you may travel. You may make some plans to travel overseas. Then we have, and that's a solar eclipse, by the way, which amplifies the energy. So it's likely to have a real physical effect, and that's likely to occur within 6 months, but usually quicker than that, usually within a month or two of the solar eclipse. So you could start making plans and actually book your tickets and things like that. Okay. Then on the 20th also, the sun is entering Taurus here in your 10th house, bringing you a lot of insight and awareness and happiness, warmth around your career. Okay. Things are looking up. You may have been through a bit of a rough time lately, but things are looking better. The pieces are finally starting to fall into place in the jigsaw puzzle of life. And this can also be to do with a parent or an authority figure. As I said before, there's a party going on there. Something unusual could happen, but it's not necessarily negative. It could be like a bolt out of the blue. It could be quite positive, like winning a lottery even, but more to do with your career or your relationship with authority figures or parents. Then on the 21st, Mercury is retrograde also here in your house of career. Do be cautious of your communications. There could be delays, there could be misunderstandings in your career zone. And it's probably something to do with reliability or stability, something that felt very stable. You just realised that the pieces in the jigsaw puzzle have changed, and this is not the jigsaw puzzle that you thought it was. It's not exactly how you thought. So the pieces are moving around. So it's because it's in Taurus, it's likely to have a physical effect. Your reliability and stability is probably got some glitches there with Mercury retrograde. But after, it's only to the 14th of May. After that, things sort of settle down. Then there's the shadow period for a little while, and then you'll know where you're at. Okay, so by, late May, you'll have a fair idea of the direction that you're going. Okay, so that's it. Don't forget these two cards here. Watch your finances, and you're recreating your life, which is exciting news. The magician can do it. Don't forget also, check your moon and your ascendant sign. Have a wonderful month, lovely Leo. Bye for now. Hello, vivacious Virgo. I'm here with your April horoscope. Okay, so a few things happening this month. Mercury retrograde and also a solar eclipse. You could start the month off feeling a little bit sort of turbulent or a little bit limited in some way. but it's not for very long. Let's move on and have a look at that, and I'm going to do the cards first. Pick 2 theme cards as themes for the start and the end of the month. Let's see what we come up with for Vivacious Virgo. Okay, yes, so the beginning of the month, it's time for hot coffee and cups of tea and hot chocolate. It's more like comfort food. You could just be feeling a bit out of sorts. The reason is because we've got Saturn opposing Moon, which is conjunct your ascendant, but I'll talk more about that in a moment. Let's see what card we get first to describe that. The Ace of Swords, new ideas coming through and a lot of new beginnings. The ascendant is associated with new beginnings, and you know, there's some turbulence there. Look at these mountains in the background, they're like a challenge, and mountains are there to climb, so you will overcome any challenges that present themselves, but new life is what comes out of it. Okay, so that's really good news for you. Now let's have a look in the second half. Oh, and a big butterfly, a yellow one, just flew past the window. How appropriate, given these yellow butterflies. Oh, there's another one. Wow, 2. These butterflies in the card I was just talking about. All right, now let's have a look at the second half of the month for you. What do I see, Vivacious Virgos? Yes, my vision, my inner vision is focused on this sword, the sword of truth. There's some decisions to be made. I feel you have to cut some things away. Maybe there's some old energies that are not helpful to you. Maybe you need to rejig or tweak some of your relationships or some of the energies in your life. The card that comes out is the Justice card. Okay, so whatever's fair, whatever works for you, keep your feet on the ground and be practical about it. There's the sword of truth right there, and weigh things up. What is, you know, serving you in your life now, because I do feel like there are some issues that need to be taken care of. Listen to the owl on your shoulder, the voice of inner wisdom, and even if you don't have all of the information, you can still take lots of action. This is a major arcana card. It is fairly important. Okay, so new beginnings around you. Okay, even if you're feeling with this moon conjunct your ascendant opposing Saturn over here, it could be about authority figures. It could be, because it's in your 7th house, it could be somebody who has a significant relationship with you, like a partner, a business partner, or a romantic partner, or a husband, or a wife, a spouse, and they're being a bit authoritarian, or they're limiting you in some way. Okay, so that can cause the turbulence deep down in your subconscious. Maybe there's a feeling of being trapped and you just want to escape out, and you will escape fairly soon because Moon is traveling very fast. So this is just like probably the 1st or 2nd day of the month. So the Saturn opposing opposition, the ascendant, takes a bit longer. The Moon will travel fast, but Saturn doesn't travel anywhere near as fast. It spends 2 years in each house. So it could be that this is ongoing. The limitation feeling could be ongoing for a few months, I'm sorry to say. But do remember, new life is coming at the end of that. So there is a silver lining here for you. On the 3rd of the month, Mercury enters Taurus. And this is very significant here because it is going to be conjunct to your North Node. This is all about meeting other people, and there's a sort of the hand of destiny or the hand of fate is here, bringing you two together in some way. Okay, it's in the 9th house. This person could have a foreign background or have foreign connections, but there's also Uranus here as well. And both the North Node and Mercury are going to catch up to Uranus, which is a slow-moving planet. And then there's likely to be something very unusual, very unpredictable that happens. Okay, so it could be a few months away. It might not be this month, but it is coming. Okay, so on the 6th we have a full moon in Libra here, cardinal air sign. A lot of thinking, a lot of looking at your finances is a result most probably of this. And again, there could be some turbulence around it. A woman could be involved. Maybe you need a bit of privacy to go over your finances and get things organised. Because Libra is a cardinal air sign, this could be the beginning of something to do with your finances. You instigate action, you take action around organising your finances in a better way, and maybe there's something to do with career, because we do have Venus going into Gemini here in your house of career, bringing a very beautiful tone, and this is on the 11th, a very peaceful tone, smoothing the way to knock off any edges around an authority figure, around your career, or around someone who acts like a parent, maybe your mother. In the traditional interpretation of 10th house involves the mother, but that's not always the case now. Then we have a new moon solar eclipse on the 20th, and this is in Aries here, bringing brand new start with gusto, vim and vigour, spontaneity and energy in your 8th house. This could represent investments or shared resources, and you can see with the full moon here in your personal finances, and then the solar eclipse activating your shared resources, your investments, and maybe even your intimacy zone. It's quite likely to be quite a shuffle going on. It's about the things that you share, the energy that you share with somebody else. This could also be taxes, loans. It could be inheritances, something to do with the legals around inheritances, wills and the like. See, we have the Justice card here in the second half of the month, so that is quite possible, probably even likely. And so a new beginning, and there's quite a lot going on there. There's some sort of healing going on, or an old wound is disturbed. But when an old wound is disturbed, it does give often the opportunity for healing. And with Jupiter there, anything that Jupiter comes in contact with usually expands and grows. So you might have a chance to grow your finances that you share with somebody else. Maybe you think about buying a house together, perhaps. Or it could be Jupiter likes to have things nice and fair. There's sort of sharing, learning, teaching, mentoring, philosophy, that sort of thing goes with Jupiter. And so it could be about making things more fair in some way, to do with joint finances or intimacy. Then we have the Sun entering Taurus here, and it's going to be conjunct the North Node as well, and Mercury will be travelling forward. But these three are doing a nice little party together. They'll all end up being conjunct, and there's likely to be some sort of happiness, contentment, insight, stability around this new destined relationship that is formed, or this new destined direction in your life that is formed, and there's a lot of communications around it. Then we have the 21st sees Mercury go retrograde in Taurus. So Mercury is moving like this, and then it comes back a bit as well, but it's going to be conjunct, and it'll be retrograde from the 21st to the 14th of May. Do be cautious of miscommunications. It's not the best time to sign legal documents, because you might encounter delays at some point. There's also a thing before the 21st and after the 14th called the shadow period of Mercury retrograde, which could last for a week, when the energy is either getting stronger, moving towards the 21st, or getting weaker, moving away from the 14th of May. Don't forget that. It's just not the best time to sign legal documents, and you could be called to sign some documents. See if you can put it off a bit if possible. Otherwise, you might have to go back and change things. It doesn't mean it's a disaster or anything like that. It just means changes, basically. It is a fabulous time to complete anything you started before, say, around the 11th of April. Anything you started, you ran out of energy or time, or you didn't have the money, and you put the project or whatever it was, you put it down, you could go back to it and finish it. The other thing is, it's the only retrograde planet this month, which is quite unusual. Okay, so that's it. There's a lot happening for everybody, but you are slowly getting there, and there is a bit of an overall vibe of new beginnings for you and justice taking place. Thank you so much, Vivacious Virgo, for watching today, and don't forget to check out your moon and your rising sign too. Okay, have a great month. Bye for now. Hello, lovely Libra. I'm here with your April 2023 horoscope. There's a fair few things happening. We've got a solar eclipse and Mercury retrograde and a couple of oppositions I want to talk about. So let's go to the board now and see what we can see. First, I'm going to draw 2 tarot cards as theme cards for the month for you. And the first card can be for the first half of the month, and the second card, the second half of the month. All right, closing my eyes. What do I see for Libra? Okay, you could have a very busy, active month. You may have to push yourself a little. There's a lot of stairs here, a flight of stairs that I see. Lots of action steps required to get your projects or whatever it is you're trying to do. And I would say to you, be cautious you don't push yourself too hard. The card that comes up is the 7 of Swords. It's moving away from a turbulent situation. So something recently may have happened where you may have felt put through the mill in some way. However, these yellow legs mean, well, yellow is the solar plexus chakra, and basically success is attainable, but it is going to take some action steps. You've got a whole bunch of ideas here, the swords, and you've already put a couple into practice. You're grounding your ideas. I don't see this card as negative as, you know, what some people would say, because it is called the Thief in the Night card. You may feel shortchanged in some way. However, there's a silver lining to this, and you've already got some sort of partial success, or you can see partial success on the horizon, but there's a fair bit to go. Okay, so that's the first half. And now the second half of the month. Let's see what we get. And closing my eyes, what do I see? Okay, oh yeah, more steps. This is a bit different. The steps actually turn into an escalator. So they get smaller and smaller, the steps. Just keep doing what you're doing, you'll get there. It's a time to be patient and determined. And we have Saturn here making an opposition to the moon. I'll talk about that in a moment. But Saturn can actually give you patience and determination, which is exactly what you need. And here's Prince Harry Cat just making himself at home here. The card that comes up is the 10 of Wands. It's been a bit of a long, hard struggle. You are at the end of it in some sense. You could be feeling more energetic or have more motivation to do whatever it is, but you're about to start a new cycle with this, okay? And this is all about motivation. You're feeling more motivated when you get past this hurdle. This is the end of something and you're going to let it go, and it's a good thing because it's just been a pile of work and it's basically not worth it. So a lot of green here, a lot of growth. See, there's the hill. You've probably overcome a challenge in some way, but maybe the success that you got wasn't commensurate with the amount of work that you did. And you can see here all of these bats in the background. That's Harry there with a lot to say. Okay, so that's the second half of the month. Alrighty, but soon you'll be starting something new. Let's have a look at your horoscope in depth. First thing I want to talk about is these 2 oppositions that I've outlined here. Just at the start of the month, the moon opposition Saturn. This is only for a day or two. It could be to do with your friends or somebody that you know, and it's not as good as you thought it was going to be, and it's got a bit turbulent, so a bit disappointing there, but it'll soon clear. The moon travels really fast, so it's not for very long. So you could be feeling, maybe I'll say, you know, a bit unmotivated at the start of the month, but it won't take very long. And then what will happen is the moon will move past. You've got Neptune opposing your ascendant as well, and Neptune is in your house of work. So you could be working with spiritual matters. On the other side of that, your health. Neptune in the 6th house is not really a great sort of placement for Neptune regarding your health or well-being. Things might be a little bit sort of furry or fuzzy to you in your mind. Do watch for flus and viruses as well. Maybe stay away from large groups of people, and especially connected with work or with your normal everyday routine. And Neptune is a slow-moving planet, still going to be here in this house for about another 2 years. However, you've sort of, been in this situation for a while now, so it's not like you're not used to it. So, yeah. Your ascendant's how you present yourself to the world as well. It's your identity and your appearance, and it's also your physical body as well. And so Neptune, it is great for increasing your spirituality in your relationships with people. Do be cautious that you don't look at people with rose-coloured glasses. Neptune doesn't always see clearly. Okay. Alrighty, so on the 3rd of the month, Mercury does enter Taurus, and it will be conjunct your North Node just here. So going into your 8th house here, this is all about communications regarding investments, your shared resources, and even intimacy that you share with somebody else. Sometimes there's things to do with inheritances or wills. So communications and fresh ideas, and there's some sort of destiny factor here coming up as well, because it's going to be conjunct the North Node, and so sometimes this is to do with meeting other people as well. And 6, we see a full moon in your sign, lovely Libra here. So again, turbulence around your identity and also your appearance and how you present yourself to the world. Another woman may be involved in this because the moon can symbolise women, or even the idea of mother, the concept of mother. Sometimes you just need more privacy and quiet time as well. So we're going to have Neptune opposing your ascendant, and also it will be the moon involved as well, so a full moon involved as well. So yeah, just be a little bit cautious around the 6th of the month for a day or two. Around the 11th, we have Venus entering Gemini, and that's up here. This brings a beautiful, elegant, polite, smooth flowing energy into the house of the higher mind, to do with study, usually formal study, broadening your horizons. Perhaps you're thinking about taking a trip, or there's more to do with people from other countries. The exotic you may find more attractive, and also anything to do with philosophy or psychology as well. And Venus also enhances relationships with affection and beauty and peace. So that's good news. Then we have on the 20th the new moon solar eclipse in Aries here, and there's a new start regarding your relationships. It's likely to happen quite spontaneously, could be a bit of a surprise. There's a fair degree of energy there involved. There's also all these conjunctions, Sun, Chiron, Jupiter, Mercury, and at the same time. So that's at the beginning of the month, and then the 20th, these will shift around because Mercury's moving up, the Sun's moving up, but these two, Jupiter and Chiron, will be conjunct too at the time that the Sun moves up into Taurus. And there'll be some sort of healing going on possibly with your relationships. Some relationships may have been on, skating on thin ice, and there could be some sort of healing or definite improvement with Jupiter and Chiron together. Then we have the 21st, Mercury in Taurus until the 14th of May. Now, before the 21st, say from about the 11th to the 21st, it's in shadow coming on, the energy of Mercury retrograde. Then from the 14th up to about the 24th, just roughly, the energy is coming off. So Mercury retrograde often brings miscommunications, delays, problems with travel plans. You need to add extra time between legs. And because it'll be here in Taurus, sometimes the ruler of Taurus is Venus, and Venus will be in the next house. But sometimes it can be involving money. So your shared resources here could go through some sort of miscommunication or misunderstanding. So just watch that if you're investing it particularly. And there's probably some sort of question of reliability or stability as well. The good news is anything you started before, say, the 11th of the month of April, then it's a great time to finish it. So you'll probably have more energy for going over things from the past. Alrighty, thank you, lovely Libra. Have a wonderful month. And don't forget to check out your rising sign, which is your ascendant if you're new to astrology, and also your moon sign on this video. I'll see you all again soon. Bye for now. Hello and welcome, Sensational Scorpio, for your April 2023 horoscope. Well, there's a lot happening this month, and I want to also talk about a couple of oppositions that you have this month. Okay, so let's go to the board and see what the cards have to say first, because I like to draw two cards as themes for the month for you. So the first card can be the first half of the month, and the second card can be the second half of the month. Alrighty, so I'm closing my eyes now. Now I see a puppet, which always makes me think, puppet on a string. Who's pulling the strings in your life? Is it you or is it somebody else? Just make sure it's you pulling the strings and that you're not doing the bidding of somebody else. There's, that old saying about, oh, she made the bullets and had the other person fire them. Something like that could be going on, which doesn't really suit you. It's not for your highest good. So the first half of the month, the Eight of Swords comes out. Now that makes sense, doesn't it? It's about being bound by authority figures, somebody else getting you to do what they want, not what you want, and you'll see the chains there. I have the distinct feeling that these chains are going to fall off. It's going to take a little bit of time, but you can worm and squirm and get out of this. So just keep doing what you're doing, but something's going to happen to free you. It may involve you actually making a decision. There's a fair bit happening here in your career, house of career, and also your everyday work. We'll come to your astrology in a moment, your horoscope, but this could well be to do with the work situation. Okay, let's get more clarity. The second half of the month for you, dear Scorpio. Closing my eyes now. What do I see? I see a bone. It's like a dog gnawing on a bone. You know that saying, like a dog with a bone, and they keep gnawing on it. So there could be some sort of petty type of interaction that's not, probably worth your while in terms of your energy and things like that. So I wouldn't even buy into, especially in a work situation, I would be avoiding any sort of gossip or any kind of energy where people are just being petty. The card that comes up is the World card. You can do it. This is a major arcana, okay? Something's going to happen this month. If you've been having problems, and whether it's paid work or not, it's to do with your everyday life. So if you've been having problems, it's like the world is your oyster this month. There's going to be some sort of major change, okay? Let's put that there to remind you what's going down. And then I'm going to make this bigger, and we'll be able to see more clearly. All right, I mentioned these oppositions. I've got the Moon opposition Saturn here right at the start of the month. The Moon in your 10th house of career and authority figures. This could bring up some turbulence. Sometimes a woman could be involved because it's the Moon, or a parent, probably your mother or somebody who plays the role of mother. If you're working, you may not be working with your mother, but you might have somebody at your work who has some similar personality traits as your mother. That's only for a short time because the Moon travels really quickly. Lilith is there as well, so this could be suggesting that there is some sort of problem with a woman, either in the parental relationship or to do with your career. And this is the kind of career, if you're not doing the kind of career that makes your heart sing, you're being sort of encouraged by the universe to move on to something that makes you happy. The other thing to note is that we have Mercury opposition your south node, so discussions and ideas that are somehow rooted in the past, your past experience. That's what they're coming from. But Mercury will be turning retrograde, and I'll come to that in a moment. Okay, there's a lot of conjunctions here. It's a very powerful time regarding your everyday routine, your health, perhaps your work. And there's also a new start with the solar eclipse here. So the big feature seems to be around these topics this month, work, health and routine. Okay, now the other thing to note, that Mercury is moving into Taurus on the 3rd. So this goes into here and is conjunct the North Node. So this is sort of saying that your destiny or the people that you meet could become more important to you, because the 7th house is about significant relationships, and there's something fated or destined to be regarding your current important relationships or a new relationship which becomes more serious. On the 6th, the full moon goes into Libra here in your 12th house of the subconscious. There could be some rumblings down there. Maybe your sleep is affected, or the dreams. You may notice you might be having very strange dreams with the full moon there. Libra is in love with the idea of love, and loves peace and quiet and elegance and beauty. However, in the subconscious with the full moon, there could be a bit of a shake-up and a stir-up there. And then we have on the 11th Venus entering Gemini up here in your house of shared resources and intimacy. So Venus in this house is beautiful for relationships that are, very close relationships, and they're shared on an intimate level. And this is just a lovely, beautiful energy. And if it is to do with finances, it could be too, because Venus does rule finances as well. You could be influenced to invest in beautiful things or art, jewellery, that sort of thing. Just be careful that you don't overspend, and that you do, some due diligence if you are looking at investing. You may also want to buy a beautiful home or a beautiful piece of real estate or something like that. Venus would like that. If you can, that is. Not everybody can. On the 20th, the new moon solar eclipse in Aries here that I mentioned before brings a new start to your everyday routine, maybe a new job with so much activity going on here and also here. A new job or a new routine at the very least is quite likely. You may feel more healthy than usual because you've got Jupiter and Chiron next to each other. That suggests some sort of healing. Anything associated with Jupiter gets bigger, it increases. You probably have more energy. Chiron is sort of like a scar that might show itself. There might be, under certain weather conditions, you might feel like aches and pains or something like that. But Jupiter can minimise that or ameliorate that or heal that in some way. So that's good news. The Sun enters Taurus also on the 20th, bringing a lot of insight and awareness to your current relationships. And it can even bring happiness too, by the way. So it's like relationships, the important relationships improve. There could be something unusual happen because Uranus is here, and fairly soon after the 20th, the Sun's going to be conjunct Uranus and conjunct your North Node. So you may find, as I said before, that any sort of casual relationships, they could go to a deeper level. You could meet someone special, or your existing relationships are rejuvenated. Something unusual happens and they're revitalised in some way. 21st sees Mercury retrograde until the 14th of May up here in your relationships as well. So do be careful up until the 14th of May for miscommunications and misunderstandings in relationships. Write the important things down by all means. It's not a great time for travelling. It's not a great time for signing documents or contracts. If you have to sign something, if it's time sensitive, just be aware you may have to go back and sign it or choose something else at a later date because the colour that you wanted isn't available or something like that. We do have a thing called the shadow period from about the 11th or the 14th, around there somewhere, up until the 21st, where the energy is coming on, the slow down energy of Mercury retrograde, that is. And then after the 14th for a week, 10 days or so, where the energy of Mercury is picking up again and going faster. In Taurus, it's probably related something to reliability or stability. And, for example, if you're set to meet somebody, an important or significant partner, then you might find they're late. And then you might be thinking that they're unreliable, but really it's Mercury retrograde having a hand in the situation. Alrighty, so that's it, sensational Scorpios. Thanks so much for watching, and don't forget to check your moon and also your rising sign on this video as well. Have a wonderful month, everyone, and I'll see you all again soon. Bye for now. Hello and welcome, Savvy Sagittarius. Thanks for watching your April horoscope. Well, there's a few things happening this month, and I also want to talk about a couple of oppositions that you've got. Let's go to the board now and draw the cards first to see what the themes for the month are for you, and then we'll come to your horoscope right here. All right, the first half of the month, I'll just close my eyes. I see like an old grandfather's pocket watch, tick-tock, tick-tock, it's just swinging in front of me. So this suggests it's all a matter of timing for you. It's not so much whether it will or it won't happen, it's more about being in the right place at the right time. The time is crucial. The card that comes up for you is the Queen of Wands. This is a fabulous card. It's all about being motivated, getting stuff done, being filled with creative inspiration. And at a high level I'm talking about. See, she's wearing indigo. This is the third eye chakra, and so there's a fair degree of intuition going on here. And this is also added to by this wild cat, maybe a Bengal cat at the bottom here, which is, living his life on his instincts and his wits, and that's suggesting that she can also relate to that type of energy. She's got her feet on the ground and she's on a wooden throne, which suggests that there's a level of practicality here. The bat says ready for business, action to be taken. The sunflower says insight, awareness, even happiness, and a sense of achievement with this gold around her waist, the solar plexus. So getting on with things and being successful, managing things. It's usually quite indicative of an honourable woman as well, someone quite loving and loyal and spiritually inclined. So this woman sort of got it all happening and will probably be very successful. Okay, so you could meet someone like that, or that's you, deep down inside you. Let's have a look at the second half of the month. Now, what do I see for Savvy Sagittarius? A lot of books here. It might be a time of learning, a time of researching, investigating. The card that comes up is the Chariot. Fabulous for moving ahead. Take the bull by the horns, okay? And doing that, you can move forward in life. There's the two Egyptian goddess cats here, Bast, the goddess Bast. These are her familiars. Again, the reference to the cats, so the reference to your intuition and listening to your instincts, okay? So moving ahead in life, this is a major arcana card, so it's fairly significant. Sometimes it indicates major life-changing events and a triumphant victory over opposing forces, okay? So you could resolve a lot of difficulties this month. Alrighty, that's good news. I'm going to make this all a bit bigger so you can see better, and do bear those two cards in mind. Savvy Sag, the first thing I want to talk about is these oppositions here of Saturn opposite your MC and Moon opposite Saturn here. Right at the beginning of the month, we'll deal with them sort of individually. Moon right at the first of the month is opposing Saturn, and this can mean that there's some sort of turbulence coming up. at home, in your home and family, or possibly connected to someone overseas or with overseas connections, or you wanting to expand your life and grow your life in some way. Maybe people in your family aren't happy about it. It only lasts for a day or two. You could be thinking about going overseas, but maybe they don't want to travel overseas, not even for a holiday, okay? So it's only a day or two, so I wouldn't worry about that. This one with the MC, Saturn opposition MC, this goes for considerably longer. The MC is at 1041, this is at 2 degrees 51, so it's almost out of orb, depending on how big you know, there's different schools of thought in astrology about what the orb should be, but you've probably been going through this for some months already. It's nearly finished, okay, very nearly out of orb. So I imagine I think this will be finished this month, and Saturn will move away, and, you know, there's some sort of break, okay, and you'll have some sort of triumphant victory as indicated by this card. Okay, fingers crossed for you. That's the first thing. Then we have Mercury entering Taurus on the 3rd, and it straight up is conjunct with your North Node. So sometimes the North Node is associating with the other person, meeting other people in connection with your work, your everyday work, or your everyday habits, but sometimes it can be fated or destined, like a destined meeting, okay? And then on the 6th, the full moon is in cardinal air sign Libra up here, related to your friends, your groups, your hopes and dreams. The full moon can bring up things from the subconscious. Sometimes it's an indication of staying at home. Maybe you have friends to your place. You do have a lot happening here in the 5th house about socialising, and you do have Neptune here and Saturn here in your 4th house. So if you did have people around to your place, there might be some sort of restriction. Maybe you can't make too much noise as neighbours or something like that. And with the full moon there's often sort of turbulence amongst friends, or turbulence in your hopes and dreams. It's only for a few days, though. In Libra likes, it's not terrible, because Libra likes everything peaceful. So there might be a bit of a tendency for you to compromise yourself where your friends are concerned. So just watch that. On the 11th, Venus enters Gemini up here in your significant relationships. This is beautiful. It brings love, affection, beauty. It brings an appreciation of beauty, art. For example, it also looks after money. Venus is a beautiful sort of energy, and you might find your important relationships going swimmingly well. If you are involved in a casual situation, you might find it improves in some way. Venus there, it improves all relationships, business or personal. Then on the 20th, the new moon solar eclipse here in your 5th house brings a new beginning, maybe, and with all of this energy conjuncting here, all these conjunctions, you may find a big push for socialising, getting out, having fun, leisure and pleasure, and a new beginning. You could meet some new friends, get out and about, and with the moon up here, maybe your old friends don't like your new friends or something. There's something like that, yeah. But yeah, get out and have some fun. It's certainly a time for it. On the 20th, the sun also enters Taurus here, your everyday life, bringing insight, awareness and warmth and happiness. If you're working or whatever your daily routine is, improves your health, improves your well-being. It's great. On the 21st, Mercury goes retrograde in Taurus. Here, this is where you've got to be a little bit careful in your everyday work, and Mercury can sometimes bring miscommunications or delays. It's not a great time for travelling. It's not a great time for signing contracts or agreements. It's not that you can't sign them, it's just that you have to look at everything very carefully and get another set of eyes to go over things, because often under Mercury retrograde, when it does turn direct, which in this case will be on the 14th of May, you may find that something was missed and then you have to go back over things. If you pick a white car, you could end up with a blue car or something like that. And yeah, so not the best time for signing contracts. It is a great time to finish off anything that you may have started before, say, the 11th of April. And then we have the shadow period energy where the energy is coming on, or I should say, in the case of Mercury is slowing down. And then on the 14th of May, Mercury starts to speed up again. And then we have a bit of a shadow period, another week or 10 days there. So because it's in Taurus, it could involve reliability or stability, or possibly even money. So just be a bit more careful than usual with your communications. Put anything important in writing. Okay, so that's it, Savvy Sagittarius. I hope this is helpful for you. Remember these two cards, the Chariot encouraging you to surge ahead, and the Queen of Wands also encouraging you. She's very good with money also, and it looks like you're going to have pretty well, despite these two oppositions, but pretty well a lot of things going your way this month. Okay, thanks again. Don't forget, check your moon sign and also your rising sign. I'll see you all again soon. Bye for now. Hello and welcome, courageous Capricorn. I've got your April 2023 horoscope. Okay, a few things happening, and I want to mention an interesting four-way opposition to your MC as well in your horoscope, so stay tuned for that. Let's go to the board now. First thing we're going to do is we're going to draw two cards, which will be your theme cards for the month. Let's see what we get. I'll close my eyes now. Okay, for courageous Capricorn in April, something to do with the sky. It's like making a paper plane and throwing it into the air. And where does it land? We know not where. Okay, so flights of fancy. Allow yourself plenty of time to sit there and ruminate, because you might actually have some brilliant ideas come to you. Yes, it's fantasy stuff, but you might have 10 ideas and one of them's a goer. If you didn't pay attention, that one that is a goer would never get acted upon. So it's fairly important research if you want to look at it that way. If you're more a skeptic or a logical, analytical type of person, and you don't think fantasizing is helpful, it's all things in balance in my opinion. Sometimes it can be helpful if you don't overdo it. Let's have a look and see what card we get. Oh, this is very interesting. The Five of Swords. It's about domination. Okay. Are you the dominatrix or are you the dominee? Are you the one that is dominating someone, or is somebody dominating you? These are ideas that might come up in your mind. You might have a conversation. Obviously, it's probably not going to be as dramatic as this. It's not going to be a physical occurrence for the vast majority of people. This scene here is not going to occur physically, but it's symbology basically. You see up here, there's a large pair of scissors that actually they're like secateurs up here. Are you going to cut somebody or some situation off where you may feel dominated, or where it's bringing the worst of you out? And well, I say worse, even that's a judgment, isn't it? Where it's bringing an element out of you that relates to dominating others. Are you in a sort of situation with somebody where it's about power over? Is somebody going to have power over somebody? So something to think about. And the scissors are here. You can cut them off. Okay. This wouldn't suit me, either being this one or this one. I wouldn't like either, but I'm a Libran, you see. It offends my Libran sensibilities, and some people might be into this. It's not for me to judge what other people do. Everybody has to decide for themselves, do they want to partake in, I'll put that there actually, partake in power over. It's particularly relevant now because Pluto just going into Aquarius. Pluto tends to bring out these sorts of energies around manipulation and control. Okay, and where do you have Pluto? Down here in your second house of values. Pluto in Aquarius, of course, it's just gone into Aquarius a few days ago. In your second house of values, what you value, sometimes this is about money. Some people will stay in a situation of being dominated because the other person controls her strings. So something to ponder. Let's have a look now, Courageous Capricorn, for the second half of the month. Just before I move on, I'm still getting more on that. I can't move on until I get all of it out. The thing about these people that tend to be the dominatrixes or dominators is if you met them in the street or you met them in the workplace, you would think they were just sort of normal type, average Joe Blow type people. It's almost like compartmentalizing in their mind. This type of behavior is kept under wraps, but they have a public image which looks wholesome to some people. You know, it takes a while to see through them. Narcissists are typically like this, and they will, even though they're dominating people, they will play the victim to suit, themselves, to get sympathy basically from other people. Okay, now we're moving on to the next part of the month, the second part of the month. What do I see? I see a big clock here with a crow. The crow is pushing the big hand backwards, so like the Cher song, Turn Back Time. The crow is turning back time. So you might have some memories of the past. You might be feeling nostalgic. You might go back to something you used to do. And with Mercury retrograde this month, that's often indicated that things from the past can come back. The card that comes up is the Lover's card. You may hear from an old ex or somebody you used to know, and perhaps even back to high school or primary school, and you might just get news. But this was a complicated arrangement, most probably, even if you were married, because it's push me, pull you. So it's like come together, push each other apart, come together, push each other apart. And so there's a snake down here for healing. The snake bite can actually heal, in the symbology of it. I'm not sure about that's the case. Maybe, with homeopathy, a snake bite could heal. But yeah, I probably wouldn't be putting snake venom into my body if I could help it. The angels are watching out over all of this. This is about the cycle completing, the integration of the opposites, getting the energy that has been in your subconscious from what this other person represents, okay? It comes into your mind and becomes part of your personality. So to give you an example, like my husband and I, he's extremely practical. He's a retired engineer now, but because of him over the decades, I've become quite practical. I'm not sure I would be as practical as I am if I wasn't with him. Okay, so that's an indication of, whatever that person represents to you, you can take on some of their energy. Okay, so that's a major arcana. It's fairly important. Let's have a look now at your horoscope, and I'm going to make this a bit bigger, like that. Bear these two cards in mind. Okay, the four-way opposition to your MC in your 10th house of career, status, your, outside appearance to the world, also has the full moon there stirring things up. So this is fairly important for your life direction. And the MC, it's some people say medium coaly. I think the correct pronunciation is medium chali, which is the mid-heaven. And it's the point that's, highest in the sky. And some people think that the MC only is in the 10th house. That's not true. But when you're born, it's located between the 8th and the 12th houses. Usually it's in like the 9th, 10th, sometimes the 11th. Okay, so it's around there in the top part of the chart, your public area of your life. And here it's in Libra, and it is opposing the Sun, Chiron, Jupiter, and Mercury. Okay, this is really significant for the direction of your life. There's Here, Chiron. Chiron is, they're all conjunct, you'll see, so their energies all blend. And Chiron next to Jupiter there is a good sign. It's a favourable sign. Even if you may be initially hurt, it's the type of hurt that brings healing. So kind of like you're going for surgery, you've got to have all the needles and everything. You know, you don't want to have surgery without the anaesthetic. Well, hopefully you don't. And so this brings an ultimate healing, and the sun brings insight, and Mercury, there's likely to be ideas and discussions about it. But Mercury will only be there until the 3rd, when it then moves into Taurus, and it's conjunct the North Node then, which is again about your destiny, what is fated to happen. So you're coming up, dear Capricorn, for a major alteration, change in direction in your life. Maybe you're on the right path, it might just need some fine-tuning. It doesn't have to be that the direction, you know, that you're totally doing the wrong thing now. It doesn't mean that. But it does mean that certainly your life direction is going to change in some way. But it's probably like something that happens that's going to be permanent. This is not a short-term type thing. Okay, and then with Mercury, yes, going into the Taurus conjunction North Node, and that will assure the change. Basically, there'll be discussions and lots of thoughts about it. On the 6th, the full moon in cardinal air sign Libra, as I said before, will very quickly come up to your MC at 18 degrees because it only spends a few days in each house. And so early, you know, maybe 7th, 8th of the month around there could be some sort of turbulence. You're not too sure. There's something coming out of your subconscious that is being made known to you. Maybe you didn't see it so clearly, but it's about the direction of your life, and you're going to see it. And the sun will reflect off the moon, and you'll go, voila, I get it. The penny drops. On the 11th, Venus enters Gemini here, bringing a lovely smooth tone to any daily routines, habits. Even your health could be positively affected, and your everyday work. You could meet beautiful people through your work or the relationships that you have at work, whether it's paid or not, doesn't matter. But what you do on a daily basis, those relationships are likely to go very swimmingly well with this energy. On the 20th, the new moon, it's a solar eclipse here in your house of home and family. It brings new beginnings in Aries that will probably happen quite spontaneously and energetically. And the new moon is joining the party with the sun, Chiron, Jupiter and Mercury, as I mentioned before. And it's almost like the direction of your life that's going to change is opposing your home and family. So you might find that you might feel that you don't have enough time to do everything. You want to change direction of your life, but you have a family to consider, or you have a home to consider. Are you going to sell your home? Perhaps your home's getting in the way. Maybe it costs too much money. Maybe it takes too much time for maintenance. Are you going to downsize? These are all the sorts of questions, because the direction of your life, if something's fated, it's very hard actually not to do it. You can sometimes, you know, stick your toes in the ground and dig your heels in and fight it. It requires a huge amount of energy, but it's a missed opportunity if you don't go with the flow, basically. I learnt that if upstairs wants you to do something, you don't do it, you'll end up regretting not doing it. That's my opinion anyway. Take it or leave it. Then we have on the 20th the sun also entering Taurus here. A lot more energy coming into leisure and pleasure, socializing with people, meeting new people. The sun will actually come in here on the cusp, not over there, but there was no space, so I had to put it there. It will be conjunct your north node. Mercury will be moving forward, and they will be conjunct Uranus, bringing up something unusual. And it could be to do with other people. Perhaps you meet someone very interesting who helps you change your life in some way. Uranus is conjunct Venus, and so there could be a beautiful relationship between you. Doesn't necessarily say that it's romantic. It could be, but it could also be a good friendship as well. But yeah, you're likely to meet someone very important to you. Okay, 21st sees Mercury retrograde in Taurus until the 14th of May, and it's not the time for writing contracts or any important discussions or negotiations. You probably need to write them down and avoid signing anything on the dotted line if you can, because it could change later on and you have to go back and revisit it. Okay, that's it. Have a wonderful month, courageous Capricorns, and don't forget, check out your your moon sign and your ascendant. Bye for now. Hello, awesome Aquarius. I'm here with your April 2023 horoscope. Fair few things happening this month. However, you do have a couple of oppositions I'm going to talk about to tweak your life direction. Okay, let's go to the board now. I'm going to draw 2 tarot cards as theme cards for the month so you can get a sort of vibe. Let's have a look now. I'm closing my eyes. Get the colour aqua. Aqua is usually, between the heart chakra and the throat chakra, and it is usually about expressing your heart's desires, okay? It's the truth, really, that's coming out of your mouth or through your fingertips if you're typing, and that's what's likely to happen. The card that comes up is the Page of Swords. Some people don't like swords, but I don't mind them. It is about power, and this is usually about observing the principles of power, looking at the big picture up there. Pages also bring news. I always think it's positive news. So it's like you're watching a situation and you get an insight into what's going on. Minor Arcana card, probably about, everyday type things. Let's have a look here in the second half of the month for you. Actually, you might even notice this. You might pay more of attention to a political situation because that's all about power. Is it power over others, or is it power to help people and to have equality between all people regardless of race or gender or disability or whatever? Okay, so you'll be sitting back watching. Okay, now the second half of the month, a lot of clouds here, but they're moving quickly. Look, it's not a rainstorm. You might just not be feeling very motivated. It's not a storm situation. I'm just watching the clouds. They've all got silver linings, little silver linings on them, but it's maybe you don't feel motivated to do anything. The card that comes up is the 9 of Pentacles. It's probably a good time for some R&R because we're coming to the end of a cycle, and it's been a very creative cycle for you as far as your money is concerned. It's likely that a period of financial success, maybe not huge amount, you're probably not going to win the lottery or anything like that, but some sort of contentment, some sort of outward accomplishment where you've used your creativity and you've got to a certain place. And now soon you'll be going into another cycle and there'll be more creativity and new beginnings coming to you, okay? 2 minor arcana cards about everyday type situations. Okay, so bear those in mind, and now I'll make this bigger so we can really see what's going on. And you'll see here we have your co-ruler Uranus and also Venus opposing your MC. Okay, your MC is about your status, your direction in life. Sometimes it's to do with career as well, and these are here in the 4th house of home and family. You might feel something to do with your home or your family is holding you back in some way regarding your desires to fulfill your life mission, have the career you want, or have the status that you want. And you'll notice this is at the top of the chart, so there's probably some sort of public type energy associated with this. So it's an opposition, so it's not an easy mountain to climb. There's not a lot of room for movement here, but do know that Venus will soon move. These two are conjunct. Venus and Uranus are conjunct. Sometimes this can mean a very unusual or unpredictable thing happens to do with money or maybe relationships. It's home and family, so maybe a relationship in your home or family is very strongly affected. Somebody might meet somebody's very unusual or special, something like that. And it is a challenge in some way to your general life direction. Okay, on the positive side though, Venus moves very quickly. This will be out of the picture in a few days. Uranus is a slow-moving planet. I think it spends 7 years, yes, 7 years in each sign. It's only halfway through. For it to get out of that sign, it's going to be another 3 years or something like that. So, and it's got to get out of orb. See, that's 19 degrees. This is 16 degrees. It's still in orb. So, you know, we're talking months anyway. Here, you're going to have to hold the tension for some months. But something unpredictable but ultimately positive could also happen. This might put you on the path to fulfilling your true life mission, because perhaps you're not doing that at the moment. But anyway, these are only questions that you can decide. On the 3rd, Mercury enters Taurus here. It'll be conjunct your North Node. There could be a lot of discussions and ideas about your destiny, okay, coming up. So it's a fairly important month and there's a fair bit happening. The 6th sees a full moon in cardinal air sign Libra up here, bringing a light, I guess, shining a light on issues to do with growing your life. How do you want to expand your horizons? Are you interested in study? Are you interested in travel? Maybe you look at spirituality or philosophy becomes more important in your life. There might be more to do with people from other countries or perhaps the exotic. If you can't go on a holiday to another country or go and live in another country, maybe go to a restaurant or something like that. Immerse yourself in that country's culture that you're interested in. Read books, read the internet, look at pretty pictures on the internet about that country. Okay, so on the 11th, Venus enters Gemini here. This is beautiful for romance. You could meet someone special under the auspices of Venus, someone beautiful. It's also great for your friendships. You could be socializing a lot, going out and having fun. It's very creative. There's this appreciation of beauty and art as well. And you live closer to the world of the child. You might have a beautiful relationship with children in some way, or you just feel loving and affectionate towards children. It's lovely. On the 20th, the new moon drops in here into your 3rd house in Aries, and you'll see there's a fair few conjunctions here. There's a bit of a party going on. The sun has already moved when the new moon comes, but Chiron and Jupiter are still there. Mercury has already moved. These two together, Chiron and Jupiter, are very positive. Sometimes Chiron brings up some sort of pain or previous old wound, but with Jupiter there, Jupiter brings positivity, good luck, optimism, confidence. You might be feeling more confident than you ever have before. It's a healing of sorts, and the new moon is a new beginning. It marks a new beginning, so that's really favourable. The 20th sees the sun is going on the 20th, same day anyway, and it's moving forward into Taurus, your 4th house, shining a bright light on your home and family, bringing insight, bringing awareness, bringing comfort, stability. It's just a very helpful sign, and you see things brighter than you have before. 21st, Mercury retrograde in Taurus here as well. Just watch for misunderstandings affecting your home and family. Maybe write important things down. It could be something about reliability or stability because it's in Taurus. Could also, Taurus is ruled by Venus, could also indicate something to do with money or beauty as well. Maybe you want to redecorate your home or something like that. Okay, maybe you're looking for beautiful pillows because Venus appreciates beautiful things. Okay, so money might be an issue around it, though. You see something you like but you think it's too expensive. That's an option. Okay, so coming to the end of a cycle and this appreciation of the big picture, okay, coming as well. Thanks so much for listening. Have a wonderful month, everyone, and don't forget to check your moon and also your rising sign on this video. I'll catch you later. Bye for now. Hello, passionate Pisces. I've got your April 2023 horoscope. Okay, a fair bit happening, but you're one of the lucky signs, well, I think the only sign that doesn't start the month with any oppositions. However, something happens. So I will tell you about that in a moment. Let's go to the board, and we're going to choose the 2 tarot cards as theme cards for the month. Okay, so first card, I'll close my eyes. What do I see around Pisces? Doors opening up in front of me, kids playing on swings, up, down, up, down, up, down. Your life might be a little bit, what's that saying I often say, up and down dales and dells or something. Yeah, so a bit up and down. Anyway, let's see what card we get. The Page of Pentacles brings news about your money supply, your personal money. And it's quite likely, because look at all this happening here, all these conjunctions, all these planets in your second house of possessions, personal finances, and the things that you value in life. There's some action to be taken here. Things are not going to happen overnight, but they are going to happen. And this is someone, it could be someone close to you. If it's not you, it's like a young person close to you. It's somebody willing to work hard and do what they have to, okay? That's the action coming into play. Do what they have to improve their financial position. You've got some information on this, see the white here, but there's a lot of information that you don't have. But it's quite a favourable card for the month, for the first half of the month. Now let's look in the second half. For you, passionate Pisces, I see the sign of the fish. Of course, that's your sign. The fish is about Christ consciousness. It's about spiritual evolution and seeing the, having the insights, basically, seeing underneath, the facades that other people often present may not be, they may not be true, and you'll know, okay? Your intuition will tell you. And we have the 9 of Swords. When your intuition tells you that somebody's not who they say they are, or there's something else, a hidden agenda going on, you could be a bit upset about it, to be quite honest. Do know that Spirit is supporting you. However, see this purple here? It's a support, okay? Something to hold on to when, you realise that you might have to cut a relationship, or you might have to cut a situation out of your life. It's the 9 of Swords, so it's reaching the end of the cycle. Even if the relationship lasts, it goes through, it means it could go through a difficult stage. There could be some disappointment or some delay that you're not happy about, I'm sorry to say, okay? But let's get further information, because you do have a lot of positive things happening this month despite this, okay? We'll get further clarification on this as we go along. Now, as I mentioned before, there's no oppositions here. You're the only sign that starts the month off without any sort of opposition happening. However, Venus will go into Gemini, and that's on the 11th. It brings a beautiful vibe around your home and family. Maybe you want to spend money on your home, buy beautiful things and such like. The issue here now, Venus spends 3 or 4 weeks in each house, and MC's at 11:30. So, around maybe the 10th, 12th, around that type of date, these two are going to be opposite. And even leading up to that date, because there's a thing called an orb, so it comes into orb, and this means that your life direction, or maybe possibly your career, or the major thing associated with your path in life, is going to be opposite your desire to beautify your home or beautify your family environment in some way. It's like you may want peace, you may want harmony, and yet there's something in your life direction that wants you to do something else, and these two issues could come up into your consciousness. To start the month, Mercury is entering Taurus on the 3rd of the month, and it will be conjunct your North Node. This is all about destiny. This is about brilliant ideas about your destiny, and also there could be conversations with people or communications with people about what your destiny is. It's in the 3rd house here. Could involve study. It could involve siblings and cousins or cousins. It could also involve your local area. You may be having chit-chats with people, the neighbours, and you might be doing lots of jobs, going around running errands and that sort of thing. On the 6th, the full moon is in Libra here. It's a cardinal air sign. There's probably a lot of thinking going on. It's bringing some light. It's also bringing turbulence, because this could be to do with joint resources or something that you share with somebody else. Sometimes it's taxes or superannuation or 401k if you're in the US. And it's an asset, but you have to share it with somebody else in some way. There could be laws or regulations or things that you have to comply with. Sometimes this is to do with inheritances or wills, and sometimes it's to do with intimacy, because that's an energy that you share with somebody else, perhaps if you have an intimate partner. Then, so it could be a little bit turbulent for a day or two there. Then on the 11th, I did mention Venus entering Gemini, beautifying your home. And on the 20th, the new moon. It's a solar eclipse in Aries here. Look at all of this activity. There's a lot going on. And the sun is leaving on the same day. So we have Sun, Chiron, Jupiter. Mercury leaves to go into the 3rd house. Sun leaves to go into the 3rd house on the 20th. And we're left with Chiron and Jupiter. This is very, very favourable. And it could point you in a direction where you can improve your money supply. So whether that means getting a job, getting a higher paid job, or making a job for yourself through business, whatever means, there's some sort of likely healing around money, possessions, or the things that you value in life. Maybe you thought something was important and now you discover that your priorities have changed, and it might be something like honesty or integrity or something along those lines. Then we have on the 21st, Mercury's here in Taurus, and it's going retrograde until the 14th of May. And it's not a good time to sign contracts. It's a time where you have to be very careful in making sure that when you speak that there's something very clear and something, try to minimise the misunderstandings that can happen under Mercury retrograde. It's a difficult time for scheduling, particularly if you want to travel. It can be quite awkward. It can be quite awkward for contracts. Best to avoid signing contracts if you can, but if you can't, know that you may have to revisit a contract that you signed under Mercury retrograde. As well as from the 21st to the 14th of May, there's a thing called a shadow period. So that means that when Mercury is slowing down and coming up to the 21st, the energy's already sort of partially there. Then at Mercury retrograde, Mercury is literally appears in the sky as if it's going backwards until the 14th, and then it stops, and then it starts to move forward again, visually by what we can see. But of course, in the universe, out there in our solar system, it's not actually doing that, but that's how it appears. And so there's another week after the 14th where it's in shadow period. Okay. And this is communications, and the misunderstandings could be around reliability and stability, or finances, because it's here in your financial house. Okay, we also have Uranus and Venus conjunct at the beginning of the month. This is really nice. It's beautiful. Something beautiful might happen that's unexpected, like a surprise, before Venus moves away into Gemini. You could meet somebody lovely, especially if you're in business. It could be in maybe to do with promotions or marketing or something like that. Or maybe you have a surprise visit from a family member that there was some distance with and you hadn't heard from them for a while. Okay, so that's it, passionate Pisces. A fair bit happening, but ultimately to your benefit. Even if you're a little upset in the second half of the month, there's a lot of good things happening here. Okay, have a wonderful month, everyone, and I'll see you all again soon. Don't forget to check out your moon sign and your ascendant. Okay, bye for now.